A dedicated band of filmmakers has been pushing for the ACT to have its own film industry, a reality that moved one step closer today with an announcement from the government. Emma Renwick reports on the action.
And 3, 2, 1, action!
3, 2, 1.
Actually a Canberra story. It's set in a future Canberra where the world has undergone climatic collapse. The oceans have risen 50 metres, Melbourne and Sydney are wiped out, the world map's changed, and the population of Australia and all the outlying islands has fled to Canberra. So it's now this seething metropolis. It's semi-apocalyptic because we've had this giant flooding that's changed the world, but it's also got enough high technology and enough gadgets and gizmos in the province of the rich to give us that techie edge.
3, 2, 1, action.
Personally, it's been a rocky road because I gave up full-time work to go out and be a filmmaker and was starving very promptly and sort of had to get my day job again and came back with a much more strategic approach.
Part of that plan was to attract some government funding, but the short film has still needed the huge efforts of almost 100 volunteers.
One of the key factors in bringing people into the SILICON SPIES project is talking about the potential that it has. And a short film won't necessarily make a lot of money. Potentially won't make any money, but what it can do is it can bring these benefits, such as proving we've got the capability, giving people experience that wouldn't have otherwise got that experience. And in this case, it's part of a strategy leading us towards a TV show.
Canberra's streets on the big screen may become a common sight. The newly formed ACT Film and Television Council aim to promote the merits of the local industry, struggling to compete against the bigger players.
If we keep talking about a bush capital, then I think there is an expectation that all you're actually going to get here are a bunch of bloody hicks.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time we stopped that.
If we build a movie precinct with infrastructure, with facilities, if you build it, they will come.
At the end of the day, the ideas were a little less blockbusting. Instead, shooting for a Canberra Film and Television office.
We need a film and television office which fosters and facilitates the growth and diversification of our local industry, which means not just providing locations database and crewing databases, but actually providing seed funding for script development and project development for the ideas that people here have already.
Okay.
And action!
Broken Hill, Wollongong and Orange all have film and television offices. Canberra is the only major city without one.
The reason that the industry is pushing for a film office is to create a level economic playing field with the other states in Australia.
It's a high-cost, high-risk business, but nationally there have been impressive returns.
There wouldn't be a film industry in Australia without government assistance. And with a relatively small pot of about $170 million in subsidies, we've created a $1.8 billion industry. Screen Tasmania, which provides about $1 million worth of funding a year, has created revenue in production of $5 million last year. So that's a really good example of how a sort of similar size economy can generate revenue out of investment in film and television.
386, take 2. Okay.
Action!
Well, today we've launched the ACT Office of Film and Television, given it a name, Screen Action, and that will be the focal point for working with the industry and developing the industry in the ACT.
There's an opportunity here for the ACT government to make a real big splash, to get national headlines, to attract the media with some sort of big launch event that really places an office very strongly within the landscape. Probably our greatest fear is that the government's going to take a softly tentative approach where it's going to do a little bit over a number of years rather than come in with a really energetic pow and make a really big, strong statement.
We're really only backing it with hundreds of thousands of dollars in terms of the basic resource that we're setting up. But when we meet with a consultative group, then we can work through what is needed to be able to say we are starting an ACT and region film industry.
The power of the government combined with the passion of the industry could mean filmmaking in Canberra is not mission impossible.
I've learnt that staging a massive special effects extravaganza as it was at the National Gallery with machine guns and armoured cars, sports cars, costuming, 60 people, night shooting was possible. So that was one of the fundamental lessons. And the second lesson I learned is that if you tap into people's dreams and passions, then it's unbelievable where it'll take you.
Emma Renwick with that story.